The wind whispered across the cliffs and carried with it the scent of decay of a mansion long abandoned, known to the locals as Blackthorn Manor. For centuries, the manor had stood, its blackened towers reaching into the stormy sky, a silent sentinel of forgotten secrets and whispered horrors. Many spoke of its past, of the Van Richten family, who had vanished without a trace. One stormy night, leaving the halls to darkness, and the shadows to claim the corridors, no one dared enter, or so they thought. Evelyn Carter, a young historian, had arrived at the edge of the cliff, her eyes fixed on the looming manor. She had heard the legends, the whispers, but curiosity, stronger than fear, drew her to the wrought iron gates. As she pushed them open, the rusty hinges screamed, echoing into the night, as if warning, or perhaps welcoming, her. The courtyard lay in shadows, moonlight barely illuminating the shattered fountain at its center, and ivy creeping up the walls, as though trying to reclaim the secrets of those long gone. Evelyn's footsteps echoed against the stone floor, each step amplifying the silence, the weight of the manor's history pressing against her chest. From the corner of her eye, she saw a shadow move, slipping along the hall, fading before she could focus. Yet she felt she was not alone. Evelyn. A voice breathed her name, soft, sorrowful, from deep within the manor's heart. Her heart thumped. A cold shiver ran down her spine, but she pressed on, toward the grand entrance. The massive oak doors, carved with grotesque faces, that seemed to leer as she approached. Inside, the air was thick, damp with decay, the walls lined with portraits, faces frozen in fear, eyes that seemed to follow her every move. Cobwebs brushed her face, and the chandelier swayed, though no wind had stirred, as if the manor itself breathed, watching her, judging her. Evelyn climbed the grand staircase, each step groaning under her weight, until she reached the library. Books stacked haphazardly, yet some opened, as if inviting her to read the tales they held. Find the truth, they seemed to say. Unlock what was hidden, or be lost forever. And then a cold gust slammed the doors shut behind her, trapping her in the heart of the manor's secrets. On a pedestal, she found a diary, bound in cracked leather, its pages yellowed, written in a hand both elegant and trembling with fear. It belonged to Isabella Van Richten, the last known heiress, who vanished the night of the great storm, the night the family disappeared. As Evelyn read, the words twisted her stomach. They watch from the walls. They hunger for the living. The shadow cannot be named, or it will claim you too. A sudden crash made her spin around. A portrait had fallen, revealing a hidden door, its handle cold as ice, beckoning her to descend into darkness. Evelyn's instincts screamed, yet she could not resist. She pushed the door, and a spiral staircase descended into blackness, a hidden basement where the whispers grew louder. The basement smelled of rot and ancient dust, walls lined with cages, empty, yet something lingered, a presence watching her from the shadows, waiting, patient, hungry. Then a movement. A shadow detached itself from the wall. A figure, tall, with hollow eyes. Its whisper slicing through the air. "Why have you come?" Evelyn stumbled back. But the figure glided forward, and she realized it was not human, but something born of fear itself. She ran up the spiral staircase, hard hammering, sweat dripping down her face. But the whispers followed her, echoing in her mind, turning every step into a nightmare. The doors of the library slammed shut, trapping her once more. And from the shadows, a second figure emerged. This one, a child, pale, eyes empty. A Van Richten ghost, pleading, warning, "Do not wake the shadow." Evelyn realized the manor was alive. Its walls, its floors, its very air, infested with spirits, trapped by a curse centuries old. And the Van Richten family had been the first victims. A hidden letter, tucked behind a loose brick, spoke of the shadow, a malevolent entity, born from betrayal, hatred, and dark sorcery, waiting for an unwary soul to claim forever. As the storm raged outside, Evelyn descended into the manor's deepest chamber, where she discovered a mirror, tall, cracked, and blackened at the edges. A portal to the shadow's domain. The mirror pulsed, and she saw the Van Richten family, trapped, screaming silently, their eyes pleading for release. And in the reflection, the shadow, coiling, waiting, hungry for her soul. Evelyn gathered her courage and whispered an incantation she had found in Isabella's diary, a spell of binding to trap the shadow and free the lost souls. The air grew icy, the shadows writhed, the walls moaned, and the whispering became screams as the shadow lunged. But Evelyn's resolve held firm. With a final chant, the shadow shrieked and was pulled into the mirror, which shattered, its fragments scattering across the chamber, releasing the spirits of the Van Richten family. They thanked her, their eyes finally at peace, and whispered, "Remember, the manor's secrets must never be forgotten, but never awaken again." Evelyn left Blackthorn Manor, its towers looming silently, the wind whispering across the cliffs, carrying tales of horror, mystery, and the bravery of the one who dared to face the forgotten Haveli. And so, the manor remained a monument to shadows, to whispered secrets, and to the courage of a single mortal who walked where none dared. and survived. The horrors of the forgotten.